Well, it's been fairly okay, I have to say, with the pandemic here in Sweden. I guess you follow the news, and Sweden has been the little scapegoat with fewer restrictions and so on. So our lives has not been so interfered with. On a personal level, I guess, we have a lot of friends outside of the country, and my wife is from Belgium, so it's been hard not to be able to go there, I guess, personally. But band-wise, I would say that we were pretty lucky. It's a hard word to use. A lot of people have had a terrible time, but we were just starting to write the writing process of the record when the pandemic hit. So it kind of didn't interfere that much for us. Maybe even we got more time to focus on the record and the writing, which you can probably hear on the record as well, that it's there's more stuff going on. Yeah, I guess the most boring answer would be that you get inspired by everything around you in life. We have always been pretty adamant about not giving up our day jobs. So we have our feet on the ground and being in connection with the real world, so to say. I read a lot, and that comes across in the lyrics. There's a few books and philosophers that have been inspirational for this record. And music-wise, I guess it's the same kind of influences that we always had. And there's a pretty wide range of those. But this time around, we kind of felt that we could actually include them seamlessly into the At the Gate sound for the first time. We try to keep updated with what's happening. I really find it interesting, and there's a lot of new music out there all the time. Mainly during the writing and recording process, I did not really listen that much to metal, because that's what I always have in me anyway. I had a big jazz period, really. Like Ornette Coleman, all that stuff. So that was one of the big things that was around me all the time. But I'm checking out new stuff all the time. Lately, I've been into like the new London jazz scene, Shabaka Hutchins and Ancestors, Sons of Kemet, The Comet is Coming, stuff like that. More experimental new jazz, I would say. But there's also interesting metal out there. I would say Neptunial Maximalism is a band that I was really into, and Rebel Wizard from America. But they're like more underground acts, trying something new, trying something different, because it's very rare, like 4 or 5 metal albums per year get through my filter, because I love metal, I listen to it a lot, but then I listen to the old stuff. I think that it's also a little bit with the experience, I think. If you feel kind of, who you are as a band and as a creative person, what is important for you to project onto the listener. I think then it is easier to, fiddle around with other ideas, because you still know that the main core of the band is intact, the main feeling is still there. And for us, as I said, it's more about emotions for At the Gates. Like that's sort of the feeling I'm talking about when you listen to a song, even like the song with the saxophone. You can still hear that it's At the Gates, even if it's a completely different musical landscape. You can still feel that it's an At the Gates song, and that's something that I think comes with experience more. I think you're right, and I think it comes from a lot of different things. The internet is one thing, of course, but like the ability for bands, younger, like new started, smaller bands, to actually record themselves for a very low price, good sounding products, means that you're not now, you don't have to cater for a record company to sign you like you had in the 80s and 90s. You know, you had to be in a band that sounded like they were sellable on a record label. Now bands can release stuff, you know, on their own small label, very, very good productions from small bands. And of course that makes the chance to experiment is there earlier in a band's career. And I think people have, you know, started to like look a little bit outside, and they want to stand out and do something different. And that's inspiring, I think, you know. Of course, there's a lot more stuff for us to wade through to find what we like. But I think it's a good idea that, you know, it's more accessible, everything. And you can get your name out there pretty early, you know, in your career without having to compromise to be signed to a bigger label. We knew beforehand that we had an album that was going to have a lot of texture, a lot of different layers, and a lot of detail, a lot of different stuff that has not been on there before, different orchestration, different instruments. And that kind of needed a clearer production in one way. Not just clearer, but, you know, that everything was audible and had its place in this massive sound landscape. So yeah, it was a meticulous effort, and it's really, you know, hard work. But Jens Bogren was definitely the man that was up for it. Yeah, I think I'm very happy with everything, even the songs that are more sound like normal at the Gates songs, so to say. But I guess right now, like the centerpiece of the album is the epic, the Fall Into Time, the first on the B side. That's we've never done anything like that before. Such a huge piece of music, almost like a symphony. You know, we've never done anything like that before, and that was really cool to see that come together. But I mean, I'm proud of everything. You know, the in the Garden of Osiris, for example, to actually introduce improvised music into such a rigid music form as metal, you know, because metal is very strict. You know, like the riff goes 4 times and it goes exactly like this, and you record to a click with the drums and everything. And but then to have the saxophone improvise over it, it kind of like turned our heads a little bit. How can we do this more? How can we interact more with improvised music? And it's an intriguing, interesting idea. I have memories of working on parts of songs already while on tour, but we didn't have that much like really finished when we came off the last tour. It was like embryos of songs, outlines of the concept, the whole idea of the record. I guess we really started writing in March, April last year, and we recorded in November, December. Well, like the lining of the songs on the record is very important for us. It's always been because we are old enough to think about albums, you know, not singles so much. So the sequencing is very important because it should have a flow all the way through the album. It should start in a certain way and then, you know, take you down and up, like with the should be have a lot of different dimensions to it, have a flow, like dynamics. Spectre of Extinction was actually written as the opening track. I mean, everybody has a say in the band. It's a very democratic band in that sense. But of course, me and Jonas are the main songwriters. So I guess if someone would really disapprove of one of our ideas, we'd of course listen. But we have a vision, you know. So, but it's good to take it through the filter of the other members as well. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a meticulous job to put together this kind of album that we just did. we do it first and foremost because we enjoy doing it, like the creative process, and we do the music for ourselves. But of course, for the listener, because we believe a little bit that it's about emotional impact. That's what we try to work with, to bring out big emotions to the listener. And we're also kind of aware that the listener will recreate the album in his own or her own mind or heart. So it's very important for us to get the feedback as well, even if we are not doing it to sell more records, but it's like a little feedback from an artistic point of view is always nice. Art is always in the eye of the beholder or the listener, so we need to be aware of that the art is being recreated every time a person hears it. We've created a part of it, but then it's still being recreated once again when you listen to it. It's really hard because we're doing metal musics. I started when I was 16. That's a long time ago. It's more than half my life, and it's I don't know. It's not rewarding economically or on a personal life matter, because it's stressful sometimes, and you're away from home, and I don't know. I can't see myself not doing it. Basically, it's usually people around me tell me like, Thomas, you should go work on a record or something now, because you're very restless and like irritated or something. Then, oh yeah, okay, I forgot. I need to be creative. I'm going to start this project. So it's something I need. I don't know. I can't explain it. Yeah, we kind of agreed on that we thought it was a good idea to release the record even during the pandemic, even if we can't tour on it. That's the record label might want to push releases forward so they can be supported by tours, but we still feel that a lot of people might still be in a position like isolation or whatever, and a piece of music can make the day if it's the right music, of course. But so for us, it was very important for us to get the music out. We still have shows booked for the rest of the year that were booked before, but of course we're just waiting by the computer, seeing if they will get canceled or not, or postponed. But we have consciously focused on booking as much as we can in 2022 instead, building that year as the campaign for the record, so to say. The listeners will have a lot of time to indulge and actually might find all the details on the record before that. This is the same to you. Thank you. Bye.